Hey everybody, this is Petey from the Spinner Rack, and today I'm doing a video on the greatest Justice League arc ever. Almost, let me think, what is it? There's the Dark Side one with Perez, there's the um, Crisis on Earth Prime. That's one of the great ones that I was reading at the time. Classic, early ones, the Grant Morrison ones, and this one, I was a big fan of the JLI, right? I Once I got that they were doing comedy, I guess it's pretty early on. I think I kind of got it. I think around issue 13, or no, Moving Day, but I think it was issue 8. Issue 8. It seemed like they're doing a lot of things for gags. And when they finally, moved in, I think, what's the name? Black Canary was giving Batman instructions. And I think I kind of got it. And then when they went to, I think, the UN, those were kind of my big issues. And then I think Kevin Maguire came back. They had great artists like Kevin Maguire, Ty Templeton, Mike Cohn. And as the series going on, it was just hilarious. They would kind of amp up the action. I think I forget the crazy town they were in, but Batman is brought back to the league and he plays Maxwell Lord, goes undercover like James Bond. And Batman and Fire kind of are there for a while. And it's some of the greatest art. Kevin McGuire's done great art. I can't say it's the greatest art he's done, but then we had a shift. I think around issue 34, we got Adam Hughes, and I think, Neil Adams says he's the greatest comic book artist ever. And we said to ask the people interviewing him to say that too. Right? So we got him, and it was like just up the ante. They kind of had a semi-serious story, but he could do action, he could do babes, he could do humor. So you can see, as far as these covers, it covers the whole gamut of what he could do, right? So we have some humor here. We have some action-packed scene, and we have sadness here, right? I can spoil this and say, we who were reading the book knew that Mr. Miracle was somewhere else. So for the heroes, it's a moment where they would have some sadness, but it wasn't actually, the real death of Mr. Miracle, but it was a moment for the heroes, right? So I wanted to give you kind of the first issue to kind of get the humor. Then we get into this heavy storyline. And you'll understand the title in a second, right? So, I always talk about kind of the character, what they're doing. And you can see from this page, the New York Embassy of the Justice League International, I think it was by the UN. I'm not sure this actual street, right? So we had Keith Giffen, J.M. DeMatteis, Adam Hughes, Art Nichols on inks, but he got help from a bunch of different available assistants, right? So he could do a lot of stuff with his ability. And he has the characters doing the dishes and arguing. And this is after the Kui storyline where they had the Justice League Resort, which failed miserably. And they were on kitchen duty. And Booster Gold has kind of had it of being played as a joke. And Blue Beetle's Ted Quarter's kind of okay with it. But now that they're continually the butt of the jokes. Booster's kind of had it. Beetle's kind of like, this is par for the course for us, but look at the drama to this, like, that he can pull for the moment for a dramatic shot. Even though we have this, the actual setting be there, him actually do the setting right where he didn't peel this off to put, so you could see Martian Manhunter. He's keeping the, the perspective right, because you have these cupboards here, and now you can see the cupboards on the other side of it. But he still makes him a looming figure, even more, cutting his head off, right? And you don't see him here. And he's had it. We have a big moment between these two friends, right? Where Booster kind of remembers that he'd come here for the success and the glory, not for the, be a joke. And we see a satellite outside of Neptune, and we see a creature. So I was like, whoa. And he said he's free to murder. I was like, in this book? And we see a nice dramatic setup. You see this alien, and I was like, whoa, I can't wait for this. I can't wait for this to happen, right? So this book was really on a high for me. It was always good, but then you had this great art. So we're going to, as we see, he's able to pull from going from dark to heavy, and we have someone that's scouring their garbage, right? And it's an actual reporter. So it's kind of a humorous take on the Ben Urich type of character. It's kind of a, where Ben Urich was kind of a real deal reporter. And this reporter is an old school reporter that's going through the garbage, right? So it one-ups something that you'll see in, I think, in Daredevil. So this guy is just coming in and just showing you what he can do. And I think after this storyline, they didn't have any other storylines that were serious. Right? So we see Booster. He's going on an interview to set up his own thing. Right? Almost franchising the Justice League on his own. Right? And there's something in the house here, right? And it's this cat. Obviously, you can tell the color, so it's going to lead to some problems for Green Lantern. And at this point, Fire was like one of my favorite characters. She was super hot. And then I think Adam Hughes just took it to the nth level. Like, really took it way farther. Right? And they also upped Fire's powers. So she could actually turn into flame. And she's a little more dynamic as far as her powers, too. But we had the gag of her getting scared by the cat. And the team thinking that she just wants a new wardrobe. And she's like, hey, I hadn't thought of that. Right? So, because she was, at this point, losing control of her powers and having to get new outfits. Right? So we have a moment where the yellow cat is beating up Guy, and Blue Beetle has to go help, right? So they just let Guy be the butt of the jokes, and Mr. Miracle comes, and this book is so crazy, he just keeps repeating the same thing. They don't even react to him. They're just saying he's doing some sort of thing, right? And we even have Maxwell Lord laughing at what's going on. And when Booster comes in, he's plenty upset. They want to play a joke on him, but he's not with it. right? And then, as I said, of course, he quits. So, set action. So we did the humor. We had some moments of drama in here. This one's going to start off way different. So, like, Adam Hughes is just showing you what he can do. And I would say this is why this is also the greatest thing. They have a make ready for the Spy magazine, right? An expose on the Justice League, right? So it's actually like a magazine. So they have exposés talking about him going through the garbage, getting all these things, have the Oreos, all these bits, the magazines they have, the WWF, right? So everything that he got from the garbage. And he also got pictures saying everything they threw away. So they go through this, separated at birth. They have even another gag on Superman. Gag on Guy. So to have kind of what we'd see in kind of Watchmen, but kind of done in a humorous way. And you find out that he has it ready to go, but the publisher is not with it. And we find out, I think it's the Crimson Fox, she nixed it because she's connected with the papers. And she's rich, so she kind of, look at this, closes the door and has the dartboard shake. Like, the stuff he can do is just amazing, right? So the creature has started to change. And as he shifts, he goes to the UN, and he hits their flag, and their flag somehow becomes a cape. I don't know how this works, but it's cool as heck. It works into the next cover, but I was just like, what is going on? Like, and why haven't DC used this guy before? And that just showed my show of ignorance that I didn't know who Despero was. He does look sort of different, but at the same time, I did buy the last issue of the so-called Detroit lead. And we see Despero coming for Steel, a character that I didn't buy, but I, thought he was a cool character. And we get to see a tough moment with Steel where the people there get killed. He kills what's left to Steel, right? So this also was heavy because it's like, I think the Detroit lead was all but forgotten. But at the same time, we had this powerful moment with Steel and what happened to him, right? And then there's always some babes slipping around in this book. And we have Booster finishing up his interview with different characters. There's Booster there, right? And then we have this loving couple here doing nothing. And then this is almost like an X-Men moment where we show some characters we hadn't seen before. And so you can hate the villain. And I always thought, is this ad drawn by Adam Hughes? It's not exactly the same style, but it's close. And we see the woman has been killed. We see the husband killed. And we find out here's Gypsy living her normal life with her parents since she's been in the Justice League. And he's set up by Despero. And the drama to this is amazing. It's almost like Halloween, right? And dramatic moment, she escapes. He destroys her home. She's hiding out because even with her powers, she can't match up to Despero. And she said she saw Despero die, right? And she's asked for help. And the next thing you know, more people can die. So then she hides out. And we have Kilowog, who's there, and he's like, "Uh-oh, there's some danger. Got to get this to the top dog." And obviously, it seems to them like Mr. Miracle is brain dead for some strange reason. And while she's hiding, more death and destruction by Despero, which is amazing. And this is at Rahway, in Jersey. She's out in Jersey right now. There's so much bits in here, right? And look at this, going from invisible to invisible. And she allows herself, she's going to give herself so she don't kill any more people, right? And do it. And John is going to go up against Despero, right? So Adam Hughes is kind of taken Despero and kind of updated him. You know, I think he was Savage Dragon before Savage Dragon, right? But had a third eye. So he has mental powers. And Adam Hughes show he can do action. We get a brawl between Sparrow and John Jones. We get to see how powerful Despero is, right? And he grabs Gypsy again, but John is back. And we get to see the other angle of his powers. We see John on his home world in his natural form. And we get to see Despero be the one to kill his family and almost kill John. And John survives it, but when he tries to kill Gypsy, a Green Lantern shows up, right? And the Green Lantern makes short work of Despero, right? And he thinks Gypsy is a fan, and he's almost coming on to her. And and she doesn't understand why he's reacting like that. You can see her tone change, kind of coming on to her. He's kind of being flippant when John has been hurt. She's trying to say, this is like, look at the situation. And he still only cares about himself, right? So he's going to go to finish him. And here's a poignant point. He's like, said, "Where did you get?" And he said, "Believe me, I didn't recruit him," right? So the rest of the team are going. And we see Despero fly off. And then we see guy going after him, so they switch their position, right? And there's a multitude of things that guy could do. He's waiting for him to come up, right? And Despero attacks him, right? And we get to see it. Look at the drama here. I think they're at Rockefeller Center now. It's like, good Lord. And they hold up. The team goes out. And we see the fight still going on, but we see Ice get hurt at the same time. All right, and we see Fire get into the fray. We hurt Ice. We get Guy Gardner go after him, but then he has no protection for his mind. So it's like, wow, this thing is just getting to buy this thing off the stands. And here we had the subplot of Bill Beaver being out of shape, right? So Fire is putting on the heavy fire against him, and it's good to see her finally measure up. And then we tries to attack. She's a creature of pure flame, which was cool, right? Of course, he attacks her mind, and she's there to save him. He was there to save him, right? And when Despero attacks Blue Beetle's mind, he says, "Oh, your mind is quite resilient. It's only second to the Martians." All right? And he says, "Thanks. So I enjoy breaking you. Forget the thanks." All right? So you get a little highlight for Blue Beetle, and then we have what was it? Mr. Miracle has been kind of brain dead, and Adam Hughes also updated their ship that they had. That's like, and it gets destroyed immediately, just like the X-Men. So it's kind of like a Lee Kirby, Chris Claremont, John Byrne, Martin Wolfman and Perez, any of the classic teams, right? And John's like, I got to figure out how to do it, but does that mean to let him destroy the Justice League, right? So we did that. We'll do the last one, even though we know that Mr. Miracle doesn't make it out. As I told you, if you're reading the book, he's on the other side of the earth, right? And they gave a duplicate. So then we also get a nice cheesecake shot. In truth, I really thought we were going to have Adam Hughes forever, because it was like there's a straight point from, I think it's issue 42 to 50 where he's on the book, and everything, Aquaman, Kilowog, Batman, we'll see him do his Batman in this book. Batman's in the earlier thing. It's like it felt like there's no character he couldn't do. And this would be his closest to a monthly stay, closest to a year kind of output. But they also say he's a perfectionist, so he constantly works at his art, which can lead to not having monthly work. Right? So he's about to kill Beetle, and he does just that. He crushes Beetle, crushes the Martian's mind. He survives the flame. He snuffs out fire. Ice is already out. He destroys New York, and the people of Earth. Destroys everything on the planet. Everything's gone. Right? And himself as well. To a thing of non-existence. And they're like, what just happened? And John just gave him his dream. Right? And they do a gag here about Mr. Miracle's dead. But at the same time, I'm just letting you know, I'm taking the thunder out of it, because if you're reading the book, it would just be creating a drama where there's no drama, right? It's just drama for the heroes, right? And we have Ice having her moment, being trying to help out Booster, and Maxwell Lord looks like the guy from what's the name? He always looked like the guy from was it Sam Neill, the Riley Ace of Spies in Jurassic Park, right? So they have Mr. Miracle's funeral, right? And they have all these heroes. I wasn't always sure about certain heroes, obviously like Batman, that they would show up. Well, I guess superheroes had to show up in their identities. And then we had Jack Kirby as the minister, right? And I think one of these shots, the Marvel heroes were here, and then they removed it. And as the heroes leave, Bart Marta knocks out Maxwell Lord. And we see Beetle seeing Booster Gold talking to Gypsy. He's like, well, even he showed up. And he finds out they're trying to get her to join Justice League Antarctica. And Ted Kord punches him out. That's Blue Beetle, right? Then we have this moment between Superman and Batman. Superman's trying to be friendly. Batman's being a total jerk. And Superman says sorry. But it was like, whoa, this guy can do Superman and Batman. Like, this guy can do everything, right? So, and then we see Ice sad, and then we have Guy, who's been a total D-bag this entire time, have a moment with Ice. Right? And every Maxwell Lord shot is really dramatic. And so, yeah, it's this. And we see Orion, who's like my favorite new god. He's like, hey, he's going to, and they're kind of like, brothers separated at birth. There's parallels, obviously, between the two of them since they were part of the pack. But since he thinks he's dead too, he's going to join the League and check it out, right? So there we have it. We have action, humor, action, and drama. And an artist that can draw anything. And I said this is the greatest Justice League story ever. Obviously, we had to factor in some of the classics that we wouldn't have this opportunity to do a great Despero story without the great stories of the Justice League. But this is one the story writers Keith Giffen and J.M. DeMatteis did not like. If you stayed the entire time, now you'll hear R.I.P. Keith Giffen and J.M. DeMatteis is going off and doing great things in animation, but they were not a fan of the storyline. They Matteis didn't like the story, and Keith Giffen said this did not come out like what we had planned. So ultimately, DeMatteis tried to do humor in doing the Dark Knight type of stuff with Despero, but they were not fans, and you can hear from the horse's mouth in the back issue where I'll show you this at the end.
J.M. DeMatteis said, I've always felt like this. Whenever we have a storyline that leans more toward the heroics, the less I like it. Oh God, it's a superhero story. I can't stand it. Remember the Despero story? Keith Giffen said, oh Lord. You know, it was kind of interesting for me, at least, to have my story come back totally unrecognizable. I don't know what Adam Hughes was doing.
All right, so, what was it? With that said, I still want you to check it out. This is worth it. This is, now, Adam Hughes still got it. He has never lost it. He just not monthly. He hasn't given us All-Star Wonder Woman yet. He said as the payback for some indiscretion on his part. I thought I had it here. Here we go. I have he was supposed to do Ghost monthly as the payback for something, but it only wound up being 3 issues. But these are three great issues. But I think, in my opinion, this is the most. But yeah. So he was. Well, I don't want that be going too far saying that last bit, but hey, I'm a big fan. This is great stuff. Check it out and spin rack out.